Well, a few years ago, I wrote a book called I Can Make You Rich, and I modelled a number of amazing business geniuses, people like Richard Branson, Philip Green, the sadly now late Anita Roddick, Stelios, and what I did was unpacked their strategies for business success. And some of them are very, very simple and straightforward. In fact, what was interesting is the structure in all of them was identical, even though they're in different businesses, and so they have to make different distinctions in what they do. The actual core structure was very simple. They come up with an idea and they upside it and downside it. And a simple example of that would be, you could say you wanted to go out with a girl, and you think, well, I could ask her out, and the downside is if I get turned down, I'll feel bad for half an hour. So the upside is she might say yes, and something wonderful could come for it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, the down is a 3 and the up's a 10. So so you go for it, then you take massive action. Yeah. Now, this was discovered by Wilfred Pareto. He was a 19th century economist, and he discovered that 80% of the peas that he harvested came from 20% of the pods. Now, this principle holds true in lots of things. 80% of the cost of crime is down to 20% of the criminals. 20% of your wardrobe is worn 80% of the time. And same with a whole load of things. In fact, 80% of the money you make will come from 20% of your efforts. So find out what that 20% is and focus more on that. Also, 80% of the problems that you have will come from 20% of the people you know in a particular area of your life. So what you probably want to do is to eliminate as best you can that particular part of your life. A lot of the things that I talk about are based on scientific studies. For example, people who set goals tend to do better, not just financially, they're more likely to be happier in relationships, etc., etc. And the clearer you are about your goals, the more likely you are to achieve them. In fact, you're twice as likely, according to a New American study. So some of the things that I teach are, based in strong science. However, some of it is just from 30 years in the trenches, working with people from many different disciplines. People who are geniuses in business, in science, and the arts, but also people who are very challenged, as a therapist, helping them to improve their lives. So some of the things I do are psychological, some of them are just straightforward behavioural changes, but all of it is strategic. And the other thing as well is I try out lots of new things. Sometimes I'll try things with people and I don't know whether they're going to work, so I just try my best. Well, first of all, I think, the whole image of the entrepreneur is a sort of fat cat with a cigar, and I think actually everyone's an entrepreneur, whether you own your own business or whether you work within a business. Essentially, everyone works for somebody, and really all success comes down to people backing you. So, if you have a shop, people, your customers are backing you, they're coming in and buying from you. If you're a politician, you've got to get voters, you've got to get them to back you. If you do anything in life, you've got to have people support you, affirm you and back you. So really, that's a very important part of it. And so I believe that anyone can do it. I'm from Enfield, from North London, right? I should be perhaps working in a shoe shop or a supermarket, because I left school with hardly any qualifications. I later, got educated and that sort of thing. And I had no idea that I would end up where I am now, or at that time. But when I discovered some of the modern psychological techniques that I teach and you find in my books and CDs and things like that, I began to change the way I thought about myself, what we call our self-image. And so then my life began to change for the better, because I believe that success and happiness are not just random accidents that occasionally happen to some people. I think they come from certain ways of thinking and acting in the world. And that's what I base what I do. This is something that Gandhi used to use when he was negotiating. He would step into the person he was negotiating with and see the world through their eyes. And he would get, take on what their objections might be, how they were going to, approach it, and how they saw things. So he could then come with a richer view to, the negotiation. And I do that with people that I think, I admire in business, say, for example. So, I actually would. was really weird. A few years ago, when I was working on the Rich book, I imagined stepping into Richard Branson, stepping into Philip Green, stepping into Stelios, stepping into all kinds of different people, and asking them, or looking at certain situations. And I asked them, and I got certain answers back, right, just from my imagination. And some of these people I didn't know. And when I met them, I asked them the same questions, and the answers, weirdly, were almost identical.